Welcome to another video by the brilliant expat Taffy. Fake Apollo, were they expecting rain on the moon? Now, before we proceed, let me remind you all, you've all been told by NASA and all their paid shills that NASA sent 6 missions to the moon. 6 LEMs to the moon, folks, in the late 60s and the early 70s. Now, what you'll find, I done 2 videos about 4 years ago, which proved, without question, that there was not 6 LEMs at all. There was only 1 LEM, with a different dressing each time to make it look a bit different. But there was only 1 LEM, 1 training prop LEM, folks, used for all the missions. I leave the links to them 2 videos in the pre-report. Now, what I'm doing in this video is pointing out some new evidence that I missed first time around 4 years ago. Something else that's going to prove what I proved in those videos, that there's only 1 LEM. 1 LEM, a stage prop, on the industrial waste dump at Cinder Lake, Flagstone, Arizona. Now folks, the vital piece of evidence that proves that every one of these missions was fake is staring you right in the face here with this LEM. Something I missed before. Can you see it? It's staring you right in the face. Now just remember, go back to them other 2 videos of mine and you'll find there's loads and loads of other clues proving that all the LEMs were simply 1 stage prop. But take a look at this one, what I missed before. Can you see it? Is there something that you see in front of you that doesn't make sense? Now folks, back in the year 2006, NASA themselves brought out a new video. That video was regarding the building of the LEM by the company Grumman. The manager of that company was explaining how they made the LEM and any problems they had with it, how they solved it, etc, etc, etc. But that video, folks, was only up 1 year and it was then taken down because the brilliant expat Taffy exposed some serious anomalies in it. NASA deleted the video. Now, just remember what I said there about NASA deleting the video. We'll come back to that a little bit later on. Now, what we're going to be looking at in this video is this gear unloaded. What you can see here, out of the side of the LEM, they're supposed to have unloaded a load of gear. And what they done here, they threw a white sheet over it. Now, who can tell me why would they want to unload a lot of gear that they're going to use on the moon, but then throw a sheet over it? Were they expecting rain on the moon or what? Another thing to notice with this gear, you've got the same gear in every LEM. And notice where this gear is supposed to have come out, you've got a flag on the outside of the LEM and you've got a United States. Now, how did that gear come out of there without disturbing those 2 signs? The only way that could have happened is there would have to be a square door on the LEM, that the signs are stuck on the door, they open the door, they get the gear out and then they shut the door again. That's the only way that gear could come out of that section without disturbing that flag sign and the United States sign. Now folks, another video of mine just a couple back, I showed you how to shut up NASA nutcases and send them packing for good. You've only got to have 1 very good question that's impossible for them to answer. And what we've got here is another one of those questions. What I've done with a number of these NASA nutters is put 1 simple question to all of them. I asked them all, why, after unloading this gear on the moon, would they want to throw a white sheet over it? That's all I asked them, a simple question. And do you think I got an answer? No, I did not get an answer from any one of them, folks. I first asked the nutter Bertie Slack. He wouldn't reply. He was most probably too busy down at the transgender beauty salon. The next one I put the question to was Phase 52. No reply from him. In fact, he's deleted all his posts. Most probably too busy down at Nefertiti's buying a new dress for Bertie Slack. The next one I questioned was Mysterious Mystery. His reply, there is no white sheet. You're suffering from pareidolia. The next one I put the question to was Luke S. No reply from him. As I've told you in the past, he'd be better known as Luke Arse. But he does what he always does. When he can't answer the question, he simply gets lost. He drops out of the conversation. Wow, and look at this, folks. What an avatar. Hey, Bertie, come here. Here's your pareidolia here, Bertie. 2 red eyes, black pupils, 2 nostrils, and the mouth of a chimp. Come on, Bertie, can you see a face here? Here's the avatar for another NASA nutcase, Paul White. An idiot so thick, I've renamed him, I've christened him Paul the Prat. And you'll see why. I put that question to this idiot at least 10 times, folks. At least 10 times, and all he done was got lost. He wouldn't answer the question. He'd just leave it 3 or 4 days, come back, try to enter the conversation, only for me to send him packing again by saying, hey, I haven't forgotten the question. Here's the question again. Let's have an answer. Why unload all this gear and throw a white sheet over it? After about 10 times, folks, he really got annoyed. He started turning to insults and derogatory remarks rather than answer that simple question. And here's the first attempt by that Paul White, who, as I just said, a more fitting ID, Paul the Prat. Hey, Taft the Twat, for the 10th time, why don't you shove it where the sun don't shine? There you are. He couldn't answer a simple question like that. Why would they throw a white sheet over unloaded gear? This idiot was too thick to answer that, folks. Now you can see why I've renamed this idiot Paul the Prat. And here's somebody who insists they went to the moon, and he insists he knows everything about all the photos, folks. Now, folks, what I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to be working from the Apollo 17 back stage by stage to the Apollo 11. And you'll see the reasons for that later on. Now, here's another thing about this Apollo 17 LEM. As you can see here, it's been photoshopped. And like I told you, in my 2 videos from 4 years ago, you'll find plenty more clues that this is fake. There you are, folks. There's an arrow showing the gear with the sheet over it. There you are. There's a cropped version showing the sheet. And what you'll see with this one is underneath there is a plastic see-through sheet as well. Now, can any of you explain why they'd want to throw 2 sheets over the gear? 1 sheet on top of another? Here you are. Here's another Apollo 17 134-20513. And as you can see, it's got the gear there with the sheet over it. Now, one thing you're going to see with this gear, folks, every mission the same. It never gets used. It's just unloaded, dumped outside the LEM, a sheet thrown over it, and it's forgotten. And it's there until the day they claim they left the moon. It was just left there. Now, folks, remember when I told you earlier on about a NASA video that they took down the moment I questioned it? One done by Grumman. What the manager of Grumman stated there was, when we completed this LEM, we found out it wouldn't work. It was too heavy, so we had to reduce the weight. And the only way we could do that, he said, was remove the 2 seats for the astronauts and tell them they'd have to stand. The reason that got deleted is because the brilliant expat Taffy said, what? It wouldn't carry 2 seats? Well, you didn't have much foresight, did you? Because when it come to Apollo 15, you stuck a rover in it. That must have embarrassed NASA so much, folks, that they immediately deleted the video. Pity I didn't download it at the time. Now folks, I'm sure you'll all appreciate, when you're building such a craft to land on the moon, weight is critical. You've got to keep it as light as possible. Now, they claim they couldn't carry 2 seats, so how on heck did they manage to take all this gear? Gear they never used, so it is just extra weight for no additional purpose. No purpose whatsoever. Just to take to the moon, dump it outside the LEM and forget it. Now, does that make sense to you folks? Here you are. Here's another photo of that 17 LEM 134-20506. And as you can see, I cropped it there to show you, all the gear is still under the sheet undisturbed. Okay, what we've got here now is the Apollo 16 LEM, AS16-116-18579. And as you can see, this 16 LEM has got exactly the same gear. Only, there's one thing different here folks. Take a good look at this photo here. What do you think about that photo? Now folks, what do you think about this photo here? What you need the brains of the brilliant expat Taffy to spot the vital whistleblower's clue here. A clue telling us that this photo is fake and not on the moon. Now, the previous photos you've seen a white sheet over the gear, but look at the white sheet here. It's been pulled back. Now why do you think that's been pulled back folks? For gear that they're never going to use, why would they pull the white sheet back? Well, the answer is to reveal something that's underneath. Pretty easy when you've got the brains of the brilliant expat Taffy, isn't it? It's to reveal something underneath. And here is what they are revealing underneath, folks. Just look at this. This is their training prop LEM at Langley. And as you can see, here's all the gear there, but it hasn't got a sheet over it. But look at this long box with that hole in it. What the hell is this equipment? I don't see it used on the moon anywhere, do you? What they're trying to show us here is that's the same LEM as they used for training. The same box underneath, telling us it's not on the moon. Now, here's another one for Apollo 16. 107-17436. As you can see, all the gear there is unloaded, but nothing is being used. It's just dumped there. And this photo, as I've proven in the past, is fake. It's been photoshopped, as you can see. Here we are, folks. We're now with Apollo 15-88-11864. And as you can see, all the gear is there, untouched. It never got used, folks. Next photo we have AS14-66-9276. As you can see, again, it's been photoshopped. Now this is another photo I proved in the past to be 100% fake because there's no shadow from the flag or the flag pole. And as you can see, this one has got the gear unloaded. And for the idiots like Luke Arse who claim they cannot see the gear, here it is. A photo taken from a different position. You can definitely see the gear there, and you can see that big box with an oval hole in it, same as in the training center. Okay, now we've left Apollo 14, we're now with Apollo 12. And as you can see here, you've got the gear, the unloaded gear, and it's covered over with a see-through plastic sheet. And as you can see, Mr. Bean is only just now getting out of the LEM. So we've got a case here where all the gear was unloaded before any astronauts exited the LEM. So that's going to be an important question. Who unloaded this gear? There you are, another photo of Mr. Bean coming down the ladder, and as you can see, bottom left-hand corner, we've got the unloaded gear. Now folks, we're now with the first mission, Apollo 11, and as you can see, Buzz Aldrin just exited the LEM, but what have we got at the bottom? Just the other side of the ladder, we've got the unloaded gear. And here he is again, on the ladder, and you can see the unloaded gear the other side of him. Now, for anyone who said they cannot see the unloaded gear, take a look here. There you are. You can definitely see it in this photo here. Okay folks, this video initially was centered around one simple question. A simple question regarding this unloaded gear. That question being, why unload all this gear and then throw a white sheet over it? But that was one question that was too difficult for all the NASA nutcases. The nutcases including Bertie Slack, Phase 52, Luke S, Mysterial Mystery, and the other nutter, Paul the Pratt. But now it's developed into a video with a lot more questions that has to be answered. So let's take a look at these other questions, shall we? Question 1. As you have seen, the gear in all these missions was unloaded before the astronauts exited the LEM. So the question here is, who unloaded the gear in each mission? Question 2, which is the original question, why unload all this gear and then throw a sheet over it? Were they expecting rain on the moon or something? Okay, question number 3. In each mission, how did they unload the gear past the flag and the United States signs? They're supposed to be on the outside of the LEM, so how did they get the gear out past those signs without disturbing them? Question 4. Why take all this gear to the moon if they had no intention of using it? Because as I've shown, none of it was ever used, it was never disturbed. It was left exactly where it was first placed. Next question for Bertie Slack alone. Hi Bertie, are you aware that the BBC is the biggest paedophile company in the UK? Next question for you Bertie. Tell us Bertie, is it correct that you were about 50 years of age and you were a mammy's boy? And the next question after that, Bertie, is it correct that you work for the BBC, the biggest paedophile ring in the UK? Next question for you Bertie. Are you aware of a recent secret survey by the BBC that showed that 417 of its staff are transgender? Just asking Bertie, but would you be one of them? Oh, cap on it Bertie. There's a photo by NASA claimed to be the Apollo 16 descent stage that was left on the moon after they departed. As you can see, the gear is still there, and as you can see with this photo, it's Photoshop CS Macintosh 2007. Okay Bertie, time to wrap up this video. Just one final question Bertie. Do you think you'll be mentioning my stroke again in the future?